but couldn't make tonight's session. So I'm going to record it so that we can always share this out afterwards. And if you ever have to miss, we'll make sure you get the recording as well. So we have a couple folks here in person at the library. We're excited to have them here. We have in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who have signed up for the challenge, not including myself and Jennifer. So we are going to be doing this right along with you folks. So before we get started, hopefully you all know myself, Shannon Wolford, and Jennifer, my colleague. I'll spin the computer around in a minute when she talks. But yes, my name is Shannon. It's hard to hear. Oh, okay. Yes. So what you have in front of you, and folks attending virtually, what you will be given if you have not received it, we're just going to kind of walk through your materials before we get underway, so you know what you have in front of you. So we start. Okay. Jennifer's asking for introductions. I already introduced myself, so I'm going to pass the computer, turn it around.
I just want to share here too.
Yeah.
So I think everyone knows me. I'm here, Jennifer. So hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hi, Bobby Williams and Jerry.
Hi, Bobby and Jerry. It's Sue.
That's Sue up there, and that's Linda. And I think Linda's oh yeah. It's,
I know Linda.
Yeah, nice.
Yep, and there's Kathy's husband there. So we got husband, wife, Linda, and then Linda's daughter and son-in-law. I think are going to be joining too.
Right.
Oh,
They just
I know
couldn't make it
them.
today.
So
This is Pete.
Pete, sorry, yeah, Pete and Kathy.
Okay. And Sue.
Zoom me on.
Oh, I know Sue.
Yeah.
Sue.
Oh, geez. Everybody knows everybody. But that's what we love. It's small town. I love it. Okay, in your materials, we have a document from ShareCare. It is a release form. What we're hoping is that you have such awesome success in the next 4 weeks that you're going to want to shout it out to the world and say, Shannon, please share my story and take a picture of me and all that good stuff. So that is simply giving us permission. And if you're comfortable doing that, we would always, obviously work with you, arrange for the photo, get a quote from you. I'm not going to ever just release something without your knowledge. So that's one of the papers that you have in front of you. We have given you the book that we will be using, obviously, Dan Buettner's latest book, Blue Zones Challenge. So Sue, I'll get you yours tomorrow, and Kathy, you on, Thursday.
Yep.
All right. So Blue Zones Challenge, we're giving you a notebook, and we'll talk about what you're going to be using that for a little bit later. In your pile of papers, you will also have the Power 9, just as a reminder to have this around. And again, most of you know, and Bobby and Jerry, you probably are familiar enough with Blue Zones to have heard this information before, probably at the beginning of the purpose workshop that you attended, but you can glance at that in your free time. We've included the Blue Zones food list. So we look at those 5 areas that Dan studied, where we found high concentration of centenarians. And we've really been able to pick out what the types of foods that they were eating. So this is going to be a good tool for you to use maybe when you're going to the grocery store. And Jennifer's going to talk a little bit about the grocery store. We also gave a paper that is a more visually appealing paper that just show you some different foods that you might be able to pull into your diet over the next 4 weeks. I included 2 flyers that kind of give you information on some upcoming events. One is a walking MOI, a walking group if you want to get involved. The other is about the Real Age Test, and there is a separate flyer all about the Real Age Test. You'll notice in the book, they reference a test called the Vitality Test. That is a tool and you can absolutely use it, but for Blue Zones Project Corey, we promote real age test. It's almost the same type of concept. But because we started using real age here in Corey, we would love for you to make sure you're taking the real age, and that's going to help you get that baseline for your health and well-being as you embark on this challenge with us. So before I turn it over to Jennifer, any questions on the housekeeping materials or so forth? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer to get us underway.
Lucky me. Well, first of all, I'm excited that we have some participants. We were a little nervous because we launched this so quickly. So thanks everyone in joining our journey, and everyone's journey I think is going to look a little different. You know, it's just so when Chan said success stories, success could be something this small or it could be something this big. I mean, again, everyone's why story is different. So I'll share my why. Overall, I eat fairly healthy. I eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, whole grains. I do eat predominantly plant-based. I'm not completely plant-based, but to be honest with you, sweets are my downfall. And it's very easy to get in a bad habit when it goes from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas, New Year's, and you know, now you got Valentine's candy. And I don't always have control over my home environment. So I, like many people, do not always have the best willpower. And that's what I love about Blue Zones Project. It focuses on environments. Our environments influence us very much. And so it's about setting yourself up for success. So we'll talk about how to Blue Zone your home over the course of the 4 weeks. You know, for those who work, and that's why we work with work sites, you know, we're trying to create a healthier work environment to make those, you know, healthy choices easier for employees, you know, try to get some healthier options at the restaurants. You know, we're trying to set people up for success. And Shannon mentioned the grocery store, and I'll reference that here in a little bit.
Hey, before we go any further, anybody else want to share why you wanted to get
Yep.
involved in the challenge?
You didn't tell us we were gonna have to talk.
Oh, sorry. Well, you don't have to.
You don't have
To, but
But if
Well,
anybody, okay,
One of the things that I was thinking about, and I'm not sure if Jerry is thinking the same as me, is that it's I had a daughter that's really into this, and it makes it nice if the whole house
oh yeah,
is
yeah,
on the same page, so that impacts meal planning and grocery buying and all that kind of stuff.
absolutely. That's great. Thank you for
and Shannon, I
sharing.
think, don't you have your whole family going in with you on this?
Yes, the whole Wolford clan is going to try to participate in this. We have been prepping. I've been getting the mindset right. So living in my house right now, of course, is my husband, my youngest daughter, who is a high school senior, and then my son, who graduated from college but is living at home right now. So there will be 4 of us doing this challenge together. And my son, it's funny, he works in Erie at the Juice Jar, very much like the juice shop here in Corey. So he's been fixing lots of smoothies and, you know, very healthy things. And he's like, oh, Mom, we can do this. I can help. I know what I'm doing. So we'll give you some strategies and we'll talk through ways that we can make sure you're going to feel successful as you move through the challenge. So, and I'm very much like Jennifer, you know, I think I eat pretty healthy, but sweets is again my downfall also. And not only sweets, but it's like portion control when it comes to sweets. Like if 1 piece of cake was good, 2 is going to be better.
So with that said, does anyone else want to maybe share their why? I mean, you can keep it very simple, but we just want to offer this opportunity to share your why.
I will share my why. I too, I think I eat healthy, and that's the key word, think. So, you know, I do a lot of reading because I also have osteoporosis. So trying to combine diets. And I think this is really good. But then I read it or I look into it and it's like not what I thought it was. So mine is just to inform me with better tips and better knowledge of plant-based.
Perfect.
And Pete's going along for the ride, or does he have a why?
No, he has a why.
Okay.
I have a why.
Why are you doing it?
I'm doing it because my wife brought me into this. And It's interesting, I'm interested in plant-based food. My nephew, who's a vegetarian, keeps talking about it and all the benefits of it and everything like that, and I've been wanting to try it, so this is a good way to do that.
Well, that's great. And, I just want to preface there too, you use the word vegetarian. So, we have this conversation all the time. When someone is vegetarian or vegan, they still may not be the healthiest person because they could still be eating a lot of junk food. So again, our emphasis is going to be on like a whole food, plant-based diet. And I emphasize the word whole food because, again, a vegan or a vegetarian can go out and probably eat a whole bag of chips or, drink all the pop in the world,
Yeah.
so just because someone does, so it's really someone who really embraces that whole food plant-based diet, and that'll be, nice and challenging. And Shannon wants to add something.
I just want to pause there. Does everybody know when we talk about whole foods, what we mean by that? So when we say whole foods, it is a one ingredient food. If you're going to eat an apple, you're eating just an apple. When you eat celery, you're eating celery. So we want to minimize those processed foods. Now, does that mean you can't ever eat something that comes out of a box or a bag? Not necessarily, but we want you to be very mindful and aware and informed about what is in that box or bag. So we look at the number of ingredients. Fewer is better. Ingredients that you know what they are. If you can pronounce it, it's probably decent. But you don't want to have something that has 30 ingredients, all of which mean nothing to you, because that's probably not much nutritional value in that food item. So whole foods, one ingredient, few ingredients.
Just out of curiosity, those of you on virtual, could you hear Shannon when she was talking? Because the computer was like not facing her. Could you hear her?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I could hear her
Okay.
really well.
Okay, very good. Linda, did you want to share anything?
Well, I like what Shannon just said and all the contributions, but I want to be more mindful, aware, and informed. And I've been involved in the Blue Zone Project for the inception as a steering committee member, but I like the idea of the 4-week plan. So it's going to set me on a nice new, I don't
Yeah.
want to say New Year's resolution, but a new journey.
Yeah.
Good.
And I think 4 weeks is very achievable. It's not like a
Yeah.
daunting, amount of time.
Right. 4 weeks, you get enough habits started that you start making that routine for yourself.
And Sue, do you want to add anything to your why?
No, I just like the 4-week challenge. I think that's going to be, it'll be perfect for me.
Awesome.
All right. Well, with that said, unfortunately, there is going to be homework, as it comes to it. So we have to put a little effort in if we want to see results. So, wanted to get a lot of your opinions on stuff. So one of the sheets we have not passed out, but it'll be in all your packets when you get it. We want to obviously track and measure some, outcomes that are measurable. So Shannon created this document right here, which will be, again, in all your packets there who are attending virtually, and I'll hand it out to the two of you. So this will be up to you. We can help you track it, or you can track it on your own. For instance, it's going to ask for your weight. So if we do weekly weigh-ins, this is your personal information, but I will bring a scale. So those who attend in person, if you want to use the scale I bring, you're welcome to, but if you want to do it in the privacy of your home, you're welcome to do it in the privacy of your home. If you have a measuring tape at home and you want to do your waist size, we forgot to bring one tonight. We encourage you to go ahead and put the waist size in there. I am a nurse, so I do have a blood pressure cuff and the stethoscope. So those of you who are in person, if you would like me to do your blood pressure initially, then we can track it after the 4 weeks. For those of you who are attending virtually, if you prefer, if you feel comfortable going to like a Walmart or somewhere where they might have an automated one, or maybe you have an automated one at home, or maybe you just had your physical recently. If you had a recent blood pressure done, you can use that one too. And heart rate's in there, which is very easy for me to do. And I can help everyone if you need help figuring out how to calculate your heart rate. It's very easy. You can just I gotta find the screen. It's hard to.
Like doing my
I know. You know, if you took like your middle and index finger and just put it on your, what we call your radial pulse, which it's hard to show on the screen here. I don't know if anyone can find their pulse.
Oh, I actually found mine. That's a first for
Um,
me. I usually can't even find it.
Yeah. Some of you may have a, you know, a device that calculates your heart rate. But, you know, if you found the second hand on a clock, you can either just count how many times you can feel the beat in 15 seconds and times it by 4, or you could count it for 30 seconds and times it by 2. So it's basically, it's right along your thumb line here. My gosh, your wrist area. More in line with your thumb. So I don't know if any of you are able to find that, but
What
So-
about an Apple Watch? Will that do?
Yeah.
Probably, yep.
Yeah.
so if you have a device, your device might do
Yep.
it. So
Perfect.
basically, these are going to be up to you. So again, measurable outcomes, this is going to be at your option. So, you know, at minimum, you know, maybe just at least track the weight, and then all the others will be, you know, we'll leave it up to you.
And I think too, it's interesting, you know, we've given you the notebook and you'll see in the book some homework that you'll have. That's why you got the notebook. However, I think it's also interesting to think about how the food that you're eating makes you feel. Because I'll be curious to see if, you know, a week or two in, if you might even notice my energy level has improved. It might even impact your level or how you're sleeping. So, you know, as you are writing things in your notebook, you might want to include some details like that
In
because,
journal.
you know, in the next 4 weeks, I'd love to hear back from you to say, my gosh, now that I'm not drinking my soda pop or I'm not having my bowl of ice cream every night, I'm sleeping better or I have more energy or whatever it is. So, you know, just be aware that food definitely has an impact on how it makes you feel.
There was, in some of the stuff that I read, there was a reference to a ring that would,
Oh, we have a bracelet.
you have a bracelet?
It's
Yeah.
going to come next week.
Yes,
Yep.
you'll
Oh,
get that.
okay.
We have a little something for you every week.
Oh, good.
Yes, little
Yeah.
things to help you help you get through.
So obviously, when you get the book, we're not going to have you read everything overnight.
Mhm.
We're breaking it down. You know, it is broken down week by week. But when you look at the first part, when you see the book, for those of you who are already familiar with the project, the first part is going to be, you know, a lot of overview for you on Blue Zones project, but maybe you'll learn something new. So does everyone have a pen and paper close by to them? Because we're going to give you some assignments. So again, we want to break this down. So there's going to be a lot to do this first week because we need a lot of pre-work. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do before next week, go ahead, Kathy.
Is this the first week or are we getting this stuff and we're going to start next week?
You're getting the stuff and you're going to read all this before week 1 starts next Tuesday. So
Okay.
technically, yeah, so you can,
You'll have all weekend to do your
Yes.
homework.
yes.
Oh, good. I'll stay in.
I
But
knew you were looking for weekend plans.
what we're going to ask you to do
Yeah.
though is read pages 7 through 55. I will tell you
Man.
these are small pages, and again, if you're already familiar with Blue Zones project, it's very easy reading. So
Oh, yeah.
you're going to learn about the Power 9 again, a little bit more in depth. You're going to learn about the 5 Blue Zone areas, a little bit about each of those areas. So again, much of this might be overview for many of you when you read pages 7 through 55. And that's really the part, I believe that's all part 1 here, but there's
Parts
more
1 and 2.
parts. That's parts 1 and
Okay.
2.
There you go.
Now, because the challenge starts next Tuesday, we have some additional reading of pages 59 through 127. So pages 7 through 55, again, overview of Blue Zones, the original areas, the Power 9, their secrets to longevity. The pages 59 through 127 are going to get you prepped for the start of the challenge next
Mhm.
Tuesday. With that said, in those pages, let me see, I'm going to see if I can find the specific page. These might be scattered out. So we sort of wrote down some things that you want to do before next Tuesday. One is going to be to complete that real age survey. So if you have not done the real age survey, we do ask that you complete it. It may take you 20 minutes, it may take you a half hour.
You've got a flyer on that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, so, yep, the
Is
instruction,
that recorded, like I took that quite some time ago.
Oh, yeah, okay,
It's
so if
still
you, it should, yes,
let's,
you may have to reset a password if you can't remember how you logged in.
Okay.
But that would be great, because then you'll have a kind of a
yeah,
comparison.
and you may want this instruction sheet instead. So if you've taken it before, so.
Okay,
Cool.
And maybe we'll put in the bags, like there's a blue sheet if you've never taken the real age test before. The green sheet will be a better instruction sheet if you have taken it
Okay.
before. But this one here will also ask you the numbers like, hey, what is your weight? It's going to ask you for blood pressure. It's going to ask you for your cholesterol numbers. If you've ever had an A1C, which is a 3-month average of your sugars, it'll ask you for that too. So those are really a lot of the hardcore numbers that it would be nice to have handy with you when you take the survey. That way you're not taking, you get to the questions like, oh, I got to go search for it in this room or that room. So, and if it's something you've never had done before, like an A1C, then you can just skip over the question.
Right, so let's pause there. Did you hear that, folks? So as you're taking the real age survey, if you come across a question you don't know the answer,
It's okay to
you're
skip
allowed
it.
to skip it. No one's gonna come hunt you down.
Yes.
Just do your best.
Yep, Kathy, go
I
ahead.
have another question, Jennifer. You're saying, look at your cholesterol. What about somebody that's on cholesterol medicine? I am not, but yeah, Pete
I
is.
can't remember, to be honest with you, I can't remember if the survey asked you if you're on medication or
Yeah, I
not, but
can.
it's okay. I mean,
Would should we expect, or he expect changes in his cholesterol if he's on med that's taking care of that? You know,
I
what
don't
I
want to get, that's a good question. I'm trying to think back to my experience with the Dean Ornish program for reversing heart disease. I feel like I did see some people's numbers drop before, because I have seen people get off blood pressure medication. I've seen people get off cholesterol medication. I've seen people get off diabetes medication through lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen in this 4-week challenge, because the program I'm talking about is very more intensive, a little bit more intensive than this. But I want everyone to know that. So if a goal is to get off a medication or maybe minimize your medications, this could help you a plant-based diet. But even though they say genes are not your fate, I will tell you some people do have some very pesky genes. So, but maybe the dosage doesn't need to be as high, things like that. So
Gotcha.
it could, Kathy, and it may not. And that's why I like what Shannon said, sometimes even if you don't see the numbers may not reflect how you feel.
Mhm.
Where you might have more energy and better sleep. So not everyone's going to see results in numbers,
Right,
but it's
right.
something, worth kind of tracking. I
Okay.
will tell you, cholesterol numbers are those numbers that can change very quickly. Like if I ate good for 2 weeks, if I just cleaned up my daily diet a little bit, I can sway within 2 weeks. I can probably sway my cholesterol numbers a little bit if I had a blood draw. Same thing, if I ate horrible for 2 weeks, I could off kilter my numbers in the opposite way. I guess the cholesterol numbers are very volatile, like from my experience and what I saw. So unlike a A1C, which is a 3-month average, the cholesterol numbers can be very swayed with how you eat within the last 2 weeks. I mean, not swayed to a huge amount of numbers, but to some degree.
So here's something to note. If you're going to have your biometric screening done, like we are encouraged to do annually, don't do it right. It was between like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so I'm like, that was horrible timing. So Jennifer was smart. She did hers before Thanksgiving.
It actually, the next one, so the real age survey, and actually the instructions where I'm getting these 3 things I'm going to mention are pages 62 and 63. The next one is the true happiness test. And you will have to take the true happiness test is in this book, and you will get your score based on how you answer. You're going to do the answers in here. And then the other one is a purpose checklist. Again, that purpose checklist. So those pages I talked about, 59 through 127, some of those are going through the true happiness test and the purpose checklist. So that's inclusive of those pages I talked about. So with a lot of reading, which it'll be, I think, very enjoyable reading, so I hope it goes by fast. Those are the 3 things that we ask you to do before you come on Tuesday next week, is to do the Real Age survey online, take in the book the True Happiness Test, and the Purpose Checkup. And again, these 3 are listed on pages 62 and 63. Obviously, next Tuesday before you come, on the sheet of paper, unless you want me to do it for you, you can also enter in your numbers. And what you're going to find too, this is like a little diary. So this is a little journal here too. So there's going to be places here to put information. And then, there's also some here that, we may just, you can use this worksheet too. So with that said, Shan and I are just piloting this. We're doing our best to keep everything on track and keep people moving, keep you motivated. And, this is our support group. We're all supporting one another. But please know, when this process is all done, we would love to know how we can improve this. So hopefully if we can do another round of these challenges, you can help us make this better, make it more enjoyable, make it easier, however, whatever feedback you want to give us at the end of the 4 weeks. So those 3 things, and then your baseline measurements.
Okay, and I also wanted to ask, so tonight was the registration, come get your materials, find out what it's all about. The challenge will start on February 1st. Now, we had planned to do in person here at the library, noon to 1. We're also offering the virtual. So if you can attend virtually during that time frame, and then we'll also record it. But if we need to offer an evening session, we were willing to do that. So, you can either let us know now or email me afterwards, whatever you're comfortable with, and just let me know moving forward for those next 4 sessions, if noon to 1 works for you, if you would prefer noon to 1 virtually, or if you need an evening. And Jennifer and I will make sure we can accommodate everyone, okay? So if you can let us know that in the next day or 2, we'd greatly appreciate it. And again, we will record all sessions. So if you have to jump off at any time or you miss one, we'll be able to get you caught back up. And then we actually threw on the schedule the final date, which goes into March, which is our wrap up. And we really wanted that to be a celebration, kind of a fun night. And we thought we would have some Blue Zones food and have a meal together. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer.
So I think with that said, I hope I did not scare anyone off.
How's everybody feeling?
Are you anyone overwhelmed?
Anyone overwhelmed, you're ready to leave, or you feel good? Jerry's still hanging tough, so we're happy.
I wanted to offer at this point too. So we're going to give you more supporting materials next week. For instance, like you're going to read about the 4 foods to avoid and the 4 always foods. You're going to read about the Blue Zones, the 10 Blue Zones food guidelines. We're going to bring some of that material next week. But with that said, I lost my train of thought. I heard something. I'm like, I don't know what I heard.
Oh, we didn't mention the recipe
Oh,
cards. And let Linda
Yep.
and Sue know that I will.
okay. So to help prep for next week, as many of you know, I do some virtual grocery shopping tours, and we haven't done in person in a while, but we have a small enough group. If anyone, I'll make sure this is in Kathy and Pete, I know obviously you shop in Erie. But Linda, we'll make sure this is in like your packet and your daughter and your son-in-law's. This is the Blue Zone shopping list at Sanders Market, which is our locally approved grocery store. And Sue, I think you're coming in person next time, right? Or you're coming in person? Or are you doing virtual?
Sue?
Yeah,
I thought it was coming.
It's all depending on my husband and
gotcha.
what's going
Okay, very good. Okay. Anyway, so basically, obviously when you walk into a grocery store, you're going to walk into fruits and vegetables. You know, if we use the basic guidelines from the USDA, like half our meal, half our plate should be fruits and vegetables. So obviously, when you prep for this, you want to stock up with a lot of produce. The hard part that might be kind of hard to find are whole grain products. So at least for Sanders Market. Now, I made this list before COVID, so not everything may be, sometimes there's supply issues during COVID, but I made like lists of where you can find some whole grain breads. You know, we can have some processed food like Shin. So we're trying for whole foods, but there's certain things you might have processed, like you might have some whole wheat pasta, or maybe you'll try the lentil pasta or the chickpea pasta. But if there's breads, you know, this will help you find like quinoa. Quinoa is a great source, not just of whole grains, it's a great protein source. You know, anything Bob's Red Mill, oatmeal, the quinoa, the barley. So this will, you know, list all your whole grain products. And it'll tell you basically where our little shelf talkers are. We have some shelf talkers at Sanders Market. So this kind of tells you where the shelf talkers are by aisle. And then there's some just general information on the back. So those of you who can make it in person, Linda, I know you attended this a long time ago at Sanders Market. But you know, if any of you would like to do a grocery shopping tour, I would certainly offer that. I will be in Corey on Friday. I could carve some time. Sue, I can't remember if you've been through the grocery shopping tour or if you'd like to go through again and just kind of, you know, talk through the shopping list. I just want to offer that to those, you know, who may want to come in person. I'd be happy to carve out an hour's time on Friday.
Okay. And you guys can let us know that if you're
Yeah.
interested. And if Friday doesn't work, you say, yeah, I still want to do it, maybe the following week, you know, we can look
Correct.
at
It
our
doesn't have to be, yes,
schedules and-
absolutely.
Yeah, we can make something work.
So there's 3 there, just in case if you want to take that with you. The other thing we forgot to mention, the other thing that's going to be in your packets, some of you may have our recipe cards already. But basically, Shannon took the time today and just grabbed one of everything of all our recipe cards. So you can go through and pick out the favorite ones, things you think you might use, but we want to make life easier for you. So we put in all the recipe cards that we
Let
have.
Linda know, I may have forgotten hers and all.
Linda, Shannon said she may have forgot to put the recipes in your bag, but if she did, let her know and she will bring a packet to you. Does that include her daughter and son-in-law too?
Okay,
I
thank
will-
you.
I'll need to get them to her. I can
Okay.
do that.
And it possibly with your daughter and son-in-law too. She might have forgot because we have a bunch of extra packets here. So she thinks she might have forgot to put them in there. So let us know.
Okay, thank you.
So without overwhelming you too much, wanted to start out with some resources and kind of go from there. And my thought process is, you know, I'm going back to my Dean Ornish days, the Dean Ornish program for reversing heart disease. And what I loved about that program is, yes, there was, you know, time where they discussed the diet. There's time where they exercise. There was actually time where they did stress management, but there was a component called group support. And that's sort of where they sat around and they kind of shared. And I want to bring that sharing. So I'm thinking on a weekly basis, if you all like this, I want everyone to have a few moments to share. You know, it could be sharing a success. It could be sharing a challenge you had that week. The nice thing about the support group and what I learned from that is when you share, that's the whole point. You are sharing and the other people are learning to be active listeners.
Mhm.
And the idea is you don't give help unless you're asked for help. So when we do sharing, I'd love for you to share a success and or a challenge. And if you want help from the group or advice from the group, please ask. Otherwise, we're just going to be active listeners and just listen to what you're going through. And but that's sort of the whole idea is just to be there to support one another on this journey together. I'm really excited to share this journey with everyone. Does that sound
Doable?
doable? And then obviously we'll, you know, talk about, you know, what you read and then we'll get into the next week. So, you know, a little bit of that too.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Any questions from anybody? Nope. All right.
And the notebooks I'm providing, although some of them look intimidating, I don't know. I didn't know if you'd want to section off, but we just want to give people an opportunity if they want to journal, if you want to take notes, like writing their homework assignments. Some of the journals are a little bigger than the others, so please don't be intimidated. It's just, so it's supposed to be just a resource. So if you want to, use different sections for different sections. Maybe one section you're going to use to journal some of your experiences, that you're having, or just jot down some notes. So this is gonna really a journal, but there may not be enough space in here for you. So it just all depends on, how in depth you want to go with your sharing. All right.
That's really all we needed to do tonight,
Okay.
unless anyone has any more questions or comments. So we just remind you to follow up. Let us know about week 1, February 1st. If you're able to attend in person, noon to 1, virtually noon to 1, or if you would prefer an evening virtual. Yeah, we can't do the evening in person. Sorry, folks. We can only do so much, okay? But we are so thrilled to have you all here and to get going. So as you move through the material and the reading for week 1, jot down if you have questions, or if you're thinking ahead to meal prepping and planning, and take a minute and breeze through your recipe cards and say, gosh, none of this sounds good to me. We'll help you find other recipes, and we've got lots of resources. We're sitting in a library. I want to make sure everyone knows that. And Kathy, I think you already have the cookbook, the Blue Zones cookbook.
I have
Nothing
one
from-
of them.
Okay. But they do have 2 of those Blue Zone cookbooks here on the shelf at the Corey Library. And I think the Erie Library, we even have one there.
We should.
Oh, there you go. She's showing it off.
Bluezones.com and hit the rest.
Yeah, so bluezones.com also, and there's a recipe tab on there with lots of great recipes. And we can share other resources where we tend to go for recipes. So we look forward to hearing back from you. Let us know if that grocery shopping tour is something that you're interested in. We usually block off an hour. Sometimes it doesn't take that long. It really depends on how much interaction and conversation we have as we're moving up and down the aisles. So there you go. We appreciate it. And folks, just dive on into that book. It is a very quick read. I think you're going to enjoy it. Reach out if you have any questions. We're here for you. We want this to be a great, positive experience. So we appreciate your time, and I'll be sure to send out the link afterwards. If you have no further questions, I'm letting you go, folks. So have a good night.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thanks, great work you 2 did.
Bye. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks,
All right.
Jennifer.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure.